And welcome to the SmackDown Preview. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by another one of Wilbourn Hamflett from WhatCulture, here to look ahead to tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts, where we're not going to review SmackDown, but also the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. We're talking about AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a roundup that we complete with a very good quiz, of course, on Wrestle Culture. As I said, though, joined by Michael Hamflett here to look ahead to tonight's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. And not only that, it is SmackDown's USA Network season premiere.
And that's why I was saluting with a hand on my heart for a goddamn USA. I'm not just saluting cinema this week.
And God bless the United States.
God bless the geese of the United States, as usual. It's not an endorsement of the voice behind that.
Says it funny.
Yeah. Hand on the heart for the good old USA network. I'm not just saluting cinema. I'm not just saluting the red, white, and blue brand.
Yeah.
I'm supporting the season premiere.
Yes.
Of which we're about to enter quite a fertile time for. So we've got the SmackDown one tonight. NXT is moving to the CW. Don't know if you heard about that. And sooner or later, there's going to be an announcement on AEW's TV deal.
Yes.
They're probably staying put, but nonetheless, it allows for a there's going to be a fifth anniversary episode, fifth birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's
coming up soon as well. So we're entering like a nice time of year for forced excitement for no reason, which wrestling loves because they'll take absolutely any excuse to make a show feel bigger. And they're doing that here. I can't fault them for it. I'm very, very excited.
No, really looking forward to tonight's show. We'll get into, perhaps in a weird sort of order, the big thing that they've got planned for this, because the opening of SmackDown is Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa for the world title in a steel cage. That opens the show tonight.
Can't believe this. Cannot believe. Well, I can, because I think if they'd have put it in as the main event, there'd have been all the speculation has been around Roman Reigns returning,
yes,
isn't it? And doing something to get revenge on the bloodline for what they did to him. I like the idea. I would preview in the match now.
Yeah.
It's opening the podcast in the way it's opening the preview. I like the idea of Roman being partially responsible for Cody defeating Solo yet again. And this growing narrative that Cody can't do it without Roman's help, or he couldn't beat Roman without the help of others, and now he can't beat the bloodline without the help of Roman. And it just leaves a lot of stuff there about Cody's like crisis of confidence that he might have down the line, that when it comes to, say, facing like another member quite high up in the bloodline that I just kind of quite put my finger on. Oh, yeah, the final boss, The Rock.
Yes.
Around WrestleMania season. This idea of, well, there's more evidence that suggests you can't do it than you can. So it's part of the build. You know, like, look, when you tried to do it by yourself, how did 39 go? When you tried to do it at 40, you needed the Avengers assembling to stop the bloodline. And when you've been put up against this new version of the bloodline, it's taken the OTC, not to be confused with the OTJ.
Oh, no.
Which you're not sporting today.
No, I'm not. You've got your T-shirt on. Do you want to explain this?
For those that didn't see this, on the comeback from on the come down as well from our All In week. This is everything you've already heard on this podcast on a T-shirt. I've been trying to talk this into existence for years.
Yeah.
And then Mark Lee Willis,
shout out to Mark,
one of our absolute favourites in the community, made this happen. It's the entire podcast opening.
The spiel that I spout out on a daily basis, yes.
Inside the logo.
Nailed it, word verbatim as well.
The feedback to this T-shirt has been such that, I don't know, we might have to start making some buttons happen on the website. The OTJ one. And Sidge's.
Yeah.
Which I think he's like...
Sidge keeps meaning to wear it in and then forgetting, because he wants to do it when we all wear it, basically. We'll try and organise it.
Good work from Mark on that. But yeah, your OTJ... Like the design and execution, that beauty.
Shout out to Brian.
It's Brian, the SmackDown Photoshop correspondent, deserves a big heads up on that one as well. The and for whatever lunacy he creates at this point more than once a week
Yeah.
It comes out of our complete waffle and he makes art out of it. It's like he's like a one-man, like the likes of Brian and Mark and some of the people, like my best friend Matt Rains, although I worry that people think I'm being biased if I mention his name.
Yeah.
It feels like an Instagram filter where they like take a steaming pile of shit and then make something beautiful out of it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of leading me back to the Bloodline because
Careful.
it's very much the summer of 2022 taking what was starting to become one of the most depressing, boring, long title reigns in company history.
Disagree.
And made it, and basically built a boom period out of it. And now we get the follow-on from that continues in earnest beyond my optimistic predictions. Not beyond yours, but that's what makes you the OTJ and me a mere follower. I simply have to throw my one up when you walk in the room. He makes me do this. Every morning in the office.
Every morning.
He gets there and I'm on my desk. I have to throw it up straight away. Like Jey Uso, man, I'm quivering in your presence. But yeah, it brings us back to this like latest chapter, I suppose. They've got War Games, which we've been excited about for since the week after WrestleMania.
Yeah, basically.
Much. Like, I want the return. I want Roman and Cody's like on again, off again, professional rivalry, personal rivalry to fester in the background. I want them truthfully to show me the destination in the near future for Roman versus Solo, because I don't think that's on the WrestleMania docket anymore. I sense that's off the whiteboard and they've got Roman Jacob or just something bigger than Roman and Solo. I want to see that tonight. The big question I have, to fire one back to you, is if all of what we think is going to happen happens, does it then continue on elsewhere on the broadcast, the 2 hours on the USA Network? Because it's certainly join us here, it's a hook. Like whatever you've just been watching on USA, SmackDown's back. Just like you remember it on USA. Watch SmackDown. It's for the belt, it's for all the marbles. Roman Reigns in the first quarter hour. And then they've just been like, right, thanks, we got you. You can leave now if you want. Or is there more that we can expect from this?
I would hope so. I agree, obviously. I think no one is questioning whether or not Cody retains in this steel cage. There will be...
Does he? Just quickly, does he?
Yes.
Sorry, we talked a bit too much SmackDown on the SmackDown preview. I apologise.
There's lots to get into, though.
There is, yeah. Sorry about that. We'll try and return to normal next week. It's season premiere. WWE.
Yeah. We got a game later, don't worry.
Could Solo win? Like, I know that sounds insane, right? I know how...
It was like a hot potato, temporary, flipping. Maybe.
Like,
I mean, now you've said that, now I'm going to bite on a Simone Spike.
Because they've already sort of started, and it's, for WWE, quite subtle. They've already started trying to show you that at some point, Solo will take Jacob Fatu's blind loyalty for granted. Jacob, have you noticed he'll tweet like, I love you, Solo?
Yeah.
And he just
declined it to world title shot last week.
He just... acknowledges him. He just completely accepts Solo for who he is. But already there's been little times where Solo has been kind of a dick to Jacob Fatu. The one that sticks out to me was when they were in Berlin and there was a Bloodline video and Solo was basically saying, I want the winner.
Yeah.
And then he was saying his piece, but then he wanted to tack on a little bit at the end about how, Roman, I understand you've got a problem with me. Well, just bring your problem to me if you've got a problem with me. And because Jacob thought he was finished, he handed in the Ula Fala. And Solo was like, not yet. Like that. And he was, don't get
on the wrong side of him.
You're joking, mate. Like, and that's, ever since then, there's been another couple of teases where you're thinking, is already Solo just kind of like not realising the danger? Like, the calls are coming from inside the house, Solo.
Yeah, the moment The Rock shows up.
Yeah.
His head's going to be turned.
And you're a multi-time failure.
Yeah.
Like, could they have Jacob be the just... mind-blowing, jaw-on-the-floor difference maker here that leads to the moment that none of us would have predicted, which is Solo Sikoa holding the WWE title off. He's actually done it, even if it's for Cody to win back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be less worried about it than the old regime doing
totally,
something like that.
It'd be part of the plan, wouldn't it? It's definitely not something they'd be doing as a...
Well, you've sold me on this now.
I don't...
Because they've talked about Jacob Fatu versus Cody for Bad Blood, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which would be not that fast to turn around. It's early October, isn't it?
All of these matches... This was, I think, why everyone was quite excited to book the Randy Orton, was included, to book the Randy Orton program, is because when you start doing Bloodline stuff, you start kind of getting into like WrestleMania conversations for Cody. And everyone, since the Raw after WrestleMania has gone, well, it's Rock and Cody next year. Oh my God. For a belt. So it would be quite the surprise, quite the left turn, quite the shock, throughout WWE if Cody was to lose the title before then, because it just seemed written in the stars, 365 days away. Like Rock and Cody, you can make the poster now. I'd love to make a poster for a Las Vegas live event.
Oh my God.
Emails and DMs are being sent. Conversations are being had. Look, I would still love to have one of those with the beautiful Oyo Hotel and Casino. But moving the camera,
So many times you can get
moving the
left
camera
on
over
red.
there, which is where I would normally stare, is not just because we haven't got Adam Nicholas in the producer's chair. It's because, come on, guys, do the right thing.
Yeah.
Reach out. We want to work with you just as much as you should want to work with us. But in the meantime, Las Vegas, we are open for business. I know you don't get much custom around there.
Yeah, we want to bring some eyes to you.
We want to bring some eyes to the beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada.
So my theory around this is Solo doesn't win, but
It's a reasonable theory.
it's another thing of him losing but saying, oh, I would have won, but I got distracted because I think what happens is, I think Roman shows back up. Probably you have to have him waffle Fatu with a chair early because or you want
They
to...
got away with that last time, didn't they? Because Solo was down, Jacob was down injured.
He shattered his ankle by the looks of things and then just tried to stand on it anyway.
Yeah.
So, because Roman versus Jacob could be a WrestleMania match for me if you protect him and don't beat him too much. You can maybe lose to Cody, but beyond that, and if you made it like Bloodline rules and just chaos, could be fun. That it's weird thinking Roman's not going to be involved anywhere near the title picture potentially next year, but you could do that. So he takes out Jacob Fatu, but it's like, oh no, they've still got Tongaloa, Tama Tonga as well. So I'm pitching Jimmy Uso returns as well to
Oh my God.
get the ball rolling on what we're all hoping for. And big picture stuff. Although, like you say, I will be intrigued for near falls involved in this. Maybe Cody wins because despite what Solo does, I don't know, maybe Roman slams the door on Solo's head as he's trying to get out. And Cody just does the moonsault that he did to Wardlow, but to the outside.
Oh, my God.
Right? But I like the idea of... We'll get into more of the people who could show up in a bit. Cody and Roman have another moment. They maybe even go and have shrimp and... What was it? Steak and lobster.
Steak and lobster on the plane.
Yeah. I'd be like, hey, thank God we sorted all the bloodline stuff out, right? And then The Rock returns in the main event.
Oh, all right. I thought you were going to say Jacob turns up and flips the plane like a car.
Oh, that works
like
too.
Braun used to flip cars. Jacob can flip planes.
Speaking of which, check out Wrestle Culture later on today. Just a heads up on that subject.
Wait a minute. Check it out. I'm on it.
You're on it, yeah?
You tease something that I don't even know what it is. I'm going to be in the room for it.
What a day.
Where is SmackDown tonight?
That is a great question. I should have looked. I definitely saw that, and then
I'm just thinking, is there time for us to book flights and stuff?
I'll look this up.
Okay.
Actually, whilst we're on the topic, who else do you think could we see showing up for the season premiere?
I don't know. It's
It's probably one of those things, isn't it, where we'll talk about it now. In about 10 minutes after we walk out the studio, there's going to be a big tease that drops on socials.
They've not. Was the last time that they did a big 50 people? It's you don't want to miss it. Was the last one Roy's Triple X?
Oh, possibly.
Like, that
one
was-
of the greatest
Oh,
anniversary
it's
shows they've ever done.
Incredible, maybe the best ever. And it was January 2023, and since then, whether it's been the 5-match PLEs, whether it's been the location-specific TV tapings, they have never felt the need to overload these events with like legend after legend after. That's not to say the odd one or two. It was amazing having Bret Hart on Raw this week. That was kind of one of the reasons I was trying to think about the locality, as if that would be a reason for somebody to turn up.
The Climate Pledge Arena. Leave that one with me.
All right.
A couple of days ago, they'd sold 12,800 tickets.
Nice. Where's
that? Seattle. Hey, baby, I hear the blues are
calling. Tossed salads and scrambled legs. Sharpshooter.
Shout out to Fraser Cranium.
Doesn't like football, but he likes wrestling, and that's what we need him for.
Chesterfield, Port Vale this weekend, in case you were wondering.
Sunderland versus Plymouth. Reggie Lebris. Freak out. Won the manager of the month yesterday, so we're going to get beat tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. Curse.
Seattle. Right. Daniel Bryan. What's he doing? Got anything on? Nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I would be tempted not to, but I mean, the Rock. He used to be the thing where
Greg Valentine's from Seattle.
anyway,
Darby Allin.
Darby, yeah, he can do that if he wants. It used to be the thing where the idea of number one, fantasy booking The Rock was pointless.
Yeah.
Number two, previewing a WWE show that hasn't advertised The Rock in advance would be pointless, because when they could get him, they would do everything in their power to let you know they were getting him.
Yeah.
It was The Rock. Nobody was hot. You yourself, as a fan, couldn't believe that The Rock was going to grace WWE with his presence, all that sort of stuff. He was light years above just about everybody else. And it was awesome, but tinged with this sense of, oh, this is going to be fun this week. In 15 minutes, he's going to come up with a new nursery rhyme and just bury a character that you've got to watch for the other 51 weeks, 6 foot deep, and then never going to recover. But I'm going to have a nice time with it. It's different now. The narrative is completely different. The Rock returned last year as a babyface to do that thing with Austin Theory and Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but it was over as out. He then returned in far better fashion as a surprise heel in Chicago.
Oh my God.
Now, yes, he was actively part of the WrestleMania build, but he was being promoted for all the events he was set to work. So that one was a real... And was that the best of all of his TV appearances? Maybe. Do you know what I mean? Look at you now! Like, everything he did in Chicago was up there with anything you could sort of mention from this iconic Rock run in the road to WrestleMania. So you can't rule this one out. He is on the board. He knows the benefit of, you know, investor relations, network relations. USA now remains WWE's primary TV partner. Like the C-Dub has got Netflix. It's got Netflix. Has got NXT. But USA Network's where WWE's always been for all of this time, and now SmackDown's all that is left. You can... It's a fantasy, but you can fantasy book it. It was a waste of your fantasy to use it on bringing The Rock back in the Monopoly years. Now, if he's about, if he's free, and he wants to even just put his face on, it would be the talking point of the whole show, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Even beyond a Roman Reigns come back to television, it's like, just having a look. It's September, Rock. What are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like that would really like send people. I love the Jimmy Uso one for the same reasons. I'm not saying it's going to be on the same sort of star power wavelength.
He never betrayed Roman, just to point out. Roman disappeared and he went, oh, I guess I'll go with Solo then.
The Jimmy Uso, and we had fights over this, full-on shoot fights. We blooded each other up on this podcast. The Jimmy Uso Roman Reigns story is a unique one, as opposed to the Jay one, which is slightly cleaner. If you remember, Jimmy Uso returned very, very abridged version.
Yeah.
Jimmy Uso returns 2021, having been brutalized by Roman in 2020 to make Jay fall in line. He comes back from his injury. At this point, Jay is completely browbeaten, completely gaslit, totally confused, completely abused, and just Jimmy's like, snap out of it, mate. And Jay's like, snap out of what? I don't know if I'm in. Up his left. I don't know what I'm doing at this point, but he's got the belt, and we get steak and lobster on the plane.
Yes.
I'm really scared. Jimmy's like, no, don't do this. It's 2021. 6 weeks later, Jimmy Uso's doing that, and it's like none of that ever happened. He's just I guess the Usos are just baddies now. They're goons. They're helping Roman. Flash forward to 2022, and then really when the bloodline like ascends to next levels, basically. Yeah. All the belts, all the rest of it. Sammy's in, and then Jimmy Uso, like, what he's realised he's missed from bloodline all along was a bit of patter.
Yes.
And Sammy's in, as much as he doesn't want to admit it, is the best patter in the whole bloodline. And Jay's like, you fucking kidding?
Yeah.
I'm dying here, man. Like, and Sammy's like, no, it's patter. And then obviously what we get is what we get. And when nobody expects it, at that Roy's Triple X, it's Jay.
Oh my God.
Again, he's the first one, following War Games, following Sammy doing the right thing to be like, you can't. And Jimmy's like, I love the patter as much as the next guy, but like, Roman's a gaffer. And Jay's like, no, Jay's trying to, all that sort of stuff. So at this point, Jimmy's like, no, we've got to put the gaffer's needs first. Sammy's all right, but we've got the gaffer. They lose the titles, all that sort of stuff. And at this point, Jay's a quivering wreck, doesn't know what to do. Everything. He can't, like, his brother's pretty much the only one he can trust. And then what does Jimmy do? He's like, actually, Roman, I'm f***ing sick of you, mate. And Jay's like, what? Like,
why now?
I thought that was the one thing we weren't supposed to do, Jimmy. And he's like, no, I'm going to be brave. I'm going to be confident. And you need to be brave. And I want to empower you to get away from this. So Jay's like, I'm out. You're out. And I'm out too.
I saw that doing the rounds again yesterday.
Yeah, and the baby faces. And everything seems fine. Definitely fine. So Roman's like, right, you were the problem. I had a nice patter with you. we're going to put you in an ambulance. So Jimmy Uso gets put in an ambulance, and he's out of action. And so then he turns on Jay. Right, and then that's when you're like, well, we're on the hook, so we're going to give you 3 or 4 different creative outs as to how this can work. And WWE think, not for me, thanks. I'm going to come up with a wholly logical one whereby I say, Jay, I did it for you. I did it for The Rock. I mean, I did it for you, Jay. So if you'd have been the title, you'd become as big a bitch as Roman Reigns. And I was like, I got a second. What? This bitch just put you in the hospital and controlled your career and gave you the best years of your life. And Jimmy's like, 2 weeks later, oh yeah, actually, with the one. And then it's like, this is completely fallen off. Twist. And Adam Wilbourn, the OTJ, was bang on the money with this one. Hamflett, you're missing the obvious. What if Jimmy Uso was a fucking clown? Like, Wilbourn, just when I think you can't pitch something any stupider, you go and totally redeem the bloodline. And part of Jimmy Uso on the road to WrestleMania
was amazing, wasn't it?
really, really funny. The match was doomed to fail, and guess what? It did.
Yep.
But other than that,
I think singles matches aren't for me, Roman.
yeah, having him around, and by the way, the spear spot redeemed the match, so who cares?
Good point.
Thank you. I thought it was a good point, well made. Jimmy Uso as part of Bloodline is the memory I will choose to take from that difficult, undulating past, and that's the one I want to come back in the baby in the good line.
Yeah,
that's the one I want to come back in the babyface version because he's going to be the first one, as we've sort of talked about, to be like bygones. Like. They took me out of action. I really want to make friends with my brother. Roman, water under the bridge. Like, bygones. And Roman's like, aye, in you come. And then from there, it's about selling all of this, selling the vision to Jay.
Imagine if they do the hoodie attack like what happened at SummerSlam when you're like, I mean, we all knew it was Jimmy, but the reveal. But it's this time it's someone saving Roman. He's like, wait a second, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you say, getting that ball rolling on the road to Survivor Series.
And yeah, just them, like, Jay's going to fall short against Bron Breakker, and that's going to make him feel a bit of rock bottom because he's had several attempts to win singles titles and he can't get it done. And even, like, this is
Sammy's going to lose against Gunther.
Yeah. And the two of them, and they just get, like, the Jay Uso's phone's going to flash. It's going to say yeet.
He's going to say yeet, isn't he?
Yeah. It's going to be an unknown.
He's going to have to say yeet, you're right.
It's going to be an unknown number because he had to delete Jimmy's number from his phone because he had to delete them from his life to start again.
And that's the first place you start.
Yeah. Unfollowed on Twitter. Although I think the shower Twitter account, so that doesn't work.
Yeah. We'll get back to more
get
surprise
back
appearances
to where you won't belong
in a little while. But do you
Good band.
Do you think we're going to have more bad blood matches being added? Because right now it is an all Raw affair. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor, and of course CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. Hell in a Cell. Bayley's back. The Queen Nia is kind of ducking her a little bit, sending Tiffany Stratton out there to kick a race. Stepped up rematch?
Possibly. There's not, they've not indicated yet, although there is time, a PLE worthy opponent for Nia Jax, have they? You know, like the Michin thing was obviously going to be for television, and it was for television. It only appears to be Bayley if they're going to even put that belt on a PLE. And maybe they won't. Like
the Friday before.
Yeah. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley is huge. The booking of the women, like at this point, these PLEs are a bit like a frigging Dynamite. We should be doing a ladies' night for them. It's like you can have your one, all right, and stop your meh. Like it's not great. It is not great. But they are building a nice little story here with Tiffany Stratton. I'm already really enjoying this. And is it just me, or are they kind of putting the foot on the gas with it a bit?
Yeah.
I didn't expect there to be as many teases or as much out front. Like, you're not going to scream at you. No, definitely not. Like, pretty much from the moment she gave her the briefcase, from when Tiffany threw her the party, and like every week there has been listen for keeps.
Yeah.
And you kind of thought they'd pull back on it. The Triple H style is to like pull way back on this until you get to maybe the Rumble and have Tiffany say, like, just be honest with her and say, I'm going to enter the Rumble. Like, I would never cash this in on you. I want to challenge the other champion, and that's what I'm going to win the Rumble for, or whatever. Like, it just seems like it could be done in a matter of weeks.
It could be done before the end of the year, easy.
So maybe you do Bayley as Nia's like next opponent, if only to create another reason for a tease. I don't know. I don't like this. Bayley and Nia flattered to deceive. Bayley got a fantastic response when she returned at the Berlin SmackDown as a babyface. I still don't. It remains to be seen to me if this Bayley character can click as a babyface unless they give you more reasons to cheer her.
Yeah.
Feels more like this Nia thing exists to siphon off somewhere else, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what the interaction between Tiff and Nia is, because Nia's wise to all this.
Yeah.
The whole point of last week was, I'll be in your corner just like you were for mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then she accidentally sort of costs her the match. But also, she knows exactly what she was doing when she was trying to cash in, not distract Michin, from, she just saw an opportunity.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a moment tonight where Bayley challenges Nia Jax. Well, they set up some sort of stipulated rematch. The SmackDown GM, I can't remember what his name is. Sid was struggling with it actually on the review earlier on this week.
Yeah, it's some stuff about
that. They accept, and she's going to be like, we're going to have a kendo stick on a pole match because I'm righting all the wrongs from my past, right?
Must be terrible to have to talk about Collision. I don't blame him.
What? And to refresh your memory what a kendo stick shot feels like, here's one. And she hits her over the head with it, right? And Nia Jax goes down, stays down. She's out. She's out cold. It's divvy time. Out she comes, runs down to the ring with the referee.
Yep.
And just as she's about to cash in, Nia Jax sits up. She's played possum. What were you doing this time, Tiff?
I was trying to think of a reason why. So, like, it's funny you mentioned the kendo stick to the head. Something that would require Nia Jax to be out but then need to go to hospital. So Tiffany Stratton thinks, I'm going to do it now. But instead, she's got to be seen to be like, I'll get in the ambulance with it. And then she remembers a briefcase just on the off chance she can pin her at a local medical facility.
Or she goes to see her in a local medical facility, pulls out the briefcase, but she's kept some flowers in it or some grapes.
Very nice. Yes, gifts for the hospital. And it's the same hospital where Chase, you are.
Of course.
Chase Hospital. NXT podcast, wherever you get your podcast. I think I've got it. I think
I've got it. So we'll both find out in a second.
Maybe we both got it. How can you combine the local area of where the SmackDown is being recorded and ideally one of the great, I would say probably top 5, maybe top 3, greatest inciting incidents for a WWE Fooed ever?
Okay, so Chris Jericho spilled coffee on Kane.
Bingo!
What?
Right, so backstage, Nia's making coffee, and then Bayley goes to attack her, right? Because they're just obviously it's so heated, and she gets hot coffee in her face. My eyes! And Tiffany's like, can't even see. She's just out front excited because Nia will never watch the show. But Nia, that's hot coffee. And Bayley's like, ding dong, goodbye. She just leaves the set for no reason. It wouldn't work otherwise.
Yeah, right, Ross.
Tiffany's just rubbing her hands together. She's like, well, this couldn't have gone any better. She goes like, referee. And then she remembers Nia is still here. She's not got coffee in her ears. What did you just say? I mean, medic. We need a medic.
Call blimey, referee. Oh, it must be one of the British wrestlers.
Yes, a medic is what I actually said. Yeah. Like a referee comes into the shot. And then she's like, like that. And then in come the doctors. Off she goes in the hospital too. Hot coffee in the eyes.
Alternative suggestion.
Okay.
It's actually a good week.
I don't say that's as good as that one, but okay.
It's a good week for Tiff and Nia.
Yeah.
They're backing each other up. Bayley's like, I want to face you at Bad Blood. Mm-hmm. And they do the classic, the Queen says, Bad Blood? That's like October. You think you're going to make it to Bad Blood? Briefcase to the back.
Yeah.
Sets her up. Maybe even for some reason puts the briefcase on top of Bayley for the Annihilator?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sets her up.
She loves gimmicking it up.
And looks like, oh no, Bayley's going to die. She's going to die. Charlotte Flair returns to save her four horsewomen friends.
That's a good.
It's a long shot. I think she's not due back for a couple of months, but she's one of those superhuman WWE wrestlers. And they just have a tag at Bad Blood.
And there's not much being spoken about her as well.
Before, yeah.
And that's always a good thing for these surprise returns. Like
you'd actually get a babyface reaction if she wasn't just there for the title, if she was there for a mate.
Actually comes to do right by her old friend, that sort of thing. I like that. I like that a lot.
I'm just thinking big names they're going to chuck on this show.
This is what, like, realistically makes you the Frazier to my Roz, doesn't it, Brian? How nice did the Frasier radio studio look with the two of them in there? Like I was never
Not
as
as a soundboard for me, but
I bet you had one though. You know, a desk.
yeah.
Like you must have seen a program like when little.
I like this one physically, by the way. I used to have a digital one with all like, the just best music. Best mix of 80s, 90s, and today. All your favourite eras. I had to go and Vox Pop once out on the streets. Vox Popping, if you're unaware, is getting people on the streets to just basically say your radio station's catchphrase, because it can be like, we're not only based in Birmingham, listen to all these Birmingham voices we've got on the radio station.
They love it.
Not presenting, but, voices presenting, saying, the best mix of 80s, 90s, and today.
BRMB.
And at one point, I had to go around and ask some people, just for like a little thing of like, we play 80s. And then somebody would be like, I remember the 80s because of, Spandau Ballet or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, my favourite era is the 90s because it was when I first started going out, so I love hearing Wigfield.
Show me love.
Yeah, or whatever. I went to this woman. I said, what's your name? She's like, Sarah. Sarah, what's your favourite era? What's an era? Oh, what are we doing this for, eh? What's the point? Huh? I'm getting paid for this. It's ridiculous.
That's one of my pet hates of those. It's hits radio at the moment, but those radio stations where they'll do like a Throwback Thursdays, like 70s, 80s, 90s, noughties, and that's your playlist all the time.
Yeah.
Like you've always got 3 songs that are in the charts that you're on rotation, and the rest is like just old stuff that that your aging audience are going to enjoy listening to. And that's fine, by the way. There should be radio for everybody.
Yeah.
Like I like that Radio 1 gets a point where you actively feel excluded. That's how it should be.
But apart from I like, is it Sabrina Carpenter?
Yeah, massive. She's one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now, right? But that's very like 2 dads in their 30s. We're all in our 30s.
We're all in our 30s.
Fact, right? But that's 2 very. I still know what the young people listen to. There's a little known artist called Sabrina Carpenter. Ever heard of her? Spotify, 16 billion streams a month. But Radio 1 should exclude. Things should be for young people just as they should be for all. That's why even the DJs travel from. It is wild to me that the Radio 2 that my folks used to have on in the car, featuring all the old bloody codgers, now has Joe Wiley and Sarah Cox
and
on.
Scott Mills.
And Scott, it's the...
And Vernon?
The direction, possibly. It's the direction of travel for the DJs. The ones that turned out to be clever all along end up on 4 or 6 or even 3. But that to me is good public service broadcasting. The commercial stations,
it's Wild West,
play as much music just the way you remember it, and even if you don't hear it, you slop. So when they just they try and specify, it's another throwback weekend here, and every weekend's a throwback weekend. What are you trying to sell me here?
You're playing Corona Rhythm of the Night every Friday.
Every Friday. Tell us what you're doing, going out with your mates tonight. It's well, no, because this show's on at 6 o'clock and nobody goes out till 11 now.
I've got kids as well, I've got to put them to bed.
Catch up.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah.
And, one of my real pet peeves now.
But
now I'm out of it, I can sort of critique it. And I used to work there, so I'm allowed. Is this band, one of the most popular bands in the world, I'm just going to pick an example off the top of my head, Daft Punk, right? This band, one of the greatest bands ever, in my opinion.
I'd 4 figures if they were playing at the Sphere in Vegas. I'd pay. Yeah.
They've made this song, they've crafted this song, and on the album, Discovery or whatever it may be, this song is a bit longer because they're enjoying themselves.
Yep.
But they've made a radio edit. Not enough of a radio edit, though. I think I'm going to edit it. I think me as Heart Radio is going to cut out parts of this song. What are you doing? Do you ever have that when you sing along to a song? You're like, I swear this went differently.
Yeah. They'll get rid of a second verse and just loop the chorus.
No, straight back to the chorus.
Don't like that.
Or rap. No, thank you. Well, what if it's part of anyway.
Having said that, considering I've just put them over, I am going to be critical of Radio 1 for this. I don't know if this is something they still do. Shout out if to anybody that listens to Radio 1 that watches and listens to us, because it lets me know that we've not completely lost the youthful demographic at this point. But a classic, Red Alert by Basement Jaxx. I still cannot listen to the introduction of that song. So for those that have never heard it, the intro goes bum ba-dum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum ba-dum bum, and then so we got about 4 loops of that, and then it cuts in, the vocals hit. If this was you'd be reading out what's on later on, you'd be saying when traffic and travel, when news on, you count down, hit the vocals. I've presented Wrestle Culture. I know a thing or two about completely missing times. They didn't do that to hit the vocal. They just added Radio 1, so it go dun ka dun ka dun Dun, Radio 111. Dun, Radio 111. And then Radio 111. Dun, red alert, take a touch. So to this day, it's that fantastic classic of the genre, 25 years old and still feels like it came out yesterday. And all I can hear in the back, Radio 111.
I have that Lady Gaga song where Capital is like, it doesn't matter if you're. The original version, I think, goes, it doesn't matter if you're him, Carmelo Hayes, we'll talk about in a minute, or capital H-I-M, right? And they made a version that went, it doesn't matter if you're him or capital F-M. Yes.
Well, I know.
What is this?
Those are sort of different things. I don't think Lady Gaga was aiming for that when she wrote those lyrics,
I don't think she...
But yeah, you as Fraser in the studio, I'll be your Roz off to the side, like putting through, we should do a live call-in. We should, honestly, nearly a year on, thank you, Brian, from discovering them, shall we say, we need to sort of make D's Nuts and the Butthole.
Forgot about them. I was trying to remember what their name
We need
was.
to get them back in the studio one more time.
Yeah.
Like, we'll get them on Tony D Airlines or something, but like, imagine them doing a live call-in show.
D's Nuts and the Butthole was a spin-off on Wrestle Culture, I think.
They're K-Dub DJs, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, again, Brian brought the image to life. You've probably got the picture from a website somewhere, the K-Dub website, perhaps.
Yeah.
But D's Nuts and the Butthole.
In the mornings.
D's Nuts and the Butthole in the mornings that we could do, because if we did it in the afternoon, it would be in the morning in America, where people leave their comments in like the chat or something.
Yeah.
And we can just talk them through the commutes. Breakfast with D's Nuts and the Butthole. We slap it all out on your plate.
Yeah.
Or in your bowl.
But speaking of capital H-I-M, Carmelo Hayes and Andrade's feud is set to continue. Part 5 tonight. It's 2-2, Archbishop Desmond, as we
Nigel
like to
McGuinness.
call it. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I am loving this. And, I mean, it feels like Melo has to win to set up Andrade being like, all right, best of 7, because...
Well, yeah, I got this wrong. I thought it'd be 3-1, and then Melo would be like, gives one more, and then I get it to 3-2.
And now they're sort of linking in L.A. Knight from last week as well.
Love this. Really love this. Like, don't mind... I actually get to do it. Haven't had to do this watching WWE for a while. I'll hold my hands up. I didn't think the chemistry had the legs for what was clearly being teased as a series of matches. Yeah. I wasn't sure that the storyline was going to be interesting enough to justify it. I was wrong on both counts. The work has been good, getting better. Their chemistry. It's weird now, isn't it? Like, we reported on. We aggregated.
I did.
We aggregated a story on the news earlier this week about WWE reducing the house show schedule. And it's interesting that they really don't have that many opportunities to work out the kinks in the matches now. A lot of it's just going to be experimented with on television.
Although they might be doing a Saturday night's main event show on December 28th. I don't know if there's anything else happening around.
Did I hear right? That's even taking place in the same town.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean, guys.
Cool, the war's back.
Sometimes it's better just to be the much, 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 much bigger person. Yeah?
Sticking the boot in, aren't they?
I don't know. It's a dick move, like, but I welcome 2025 be the year of double dick.
I love the chaos, mate. I'm a big fan of the chaos.
You hear it from... I've given you enough bleeps this episode. Certain corners of the internet that are like friggin' Helen Lovejoy from The Simpsons when, like, Chris Legentle's got his army of PR people out. Won't somebody please think of the AEW? Ah! Get in the sludge.
Yeah.
Get in the sludge.
Roll around with us.
Fire back. Remember when Tony Khan on Twitter just outed Randy Orton as a complete liar?
Oh,
and
yeah.
Randy Orton was like doing those little teases like Elite, something like that. And then he was just like, he got onto him for like saying something on a stream that he shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, yeah, like you'd absolutely love to work for us and couldn't. That's why we had to resign. And like absolutely just pulled his pants down.
Yeah.
It's like more of that. Like we talk about when like Tony Khan has a meltdown or whatever, like, because it gets clicks. Sometimes it's like, mate, you're being a bit defensive here. There was like, he was talking about like working with like sex predators or whatever, and it was right around the time he brought in Ric Flair and all of his like controversies.
Really
like there are ways to get it wrong and ways to get it right, but get that TV deal, get that back, and then start going in 2-footed, or like start like, how mint has it been for like I'm not going to name any names when I say this, but the alleged reveal of alleged contract discussions that are taking place allegedly with the wrestlers that are allegedly already contracted somewhere else.
Yes.
And I think we all know the wrestlers I'm talking about and the situations I'm referring to. But how awesome is it that like just some of those wrestlers have allegedly gone online and allegedly said, oh, by the way, this is happening, and just allegedly like put WWE allegedly in the mud. Like it's brilliant, allegedly. So like I welcome it. Like it's kind of a dick move to run a show in the same town on the same. It's a really bad move, like old business ethics way. But like this sort of stuff's glorified years later. It's been like I was either good partner or that showed them or whatever. Like I was just watching the clip yesterday of the second Nitro where Bischoff's like, don't watch Raw. Like Sting's coming out in the Sting. He's commentating over a Sting entrance at the start of a live Nitro. Like, you got Stinger coming to the ring. If you think they're switching over, don't. Shawn Michaels beats the guy, the big guy with a super kick that wouldn't even get him a green belt and a YMCA. That was taped weeks ago. Anyway, enough of that. We're live. Like, and Sting's in the ring.
Anything can
happen. And it's like,
here.
That's amazing. And like, it might have been seen as like, how dare you? How could you want somebody? Please think of the wrestling promoter. Vince McMahon wanted you to think that in the night. Get away from making these billionaires sympathetic figures.
I can't wait till
if there is trouble to be stirred, stir it up.
October 8th, Title Tuesday in AEW and NXT having, or Orton at the bare minimum.
It's fun.
Yeah.
These 1 week a year things are fun.
Hot shot madness, basically.
I'd like NXT would get probably brutalized if it moved to a Wednesday 1 week, just for 1 week. And I wouldn't mind watching that happen either.
No.
Like, I just think it's, now that I feel like, maybe in my experience is not representative of everybody's, because I did see one of them stupid tweets last night where like these blatant, enormous like WWE engagement accounts being like, I'm just really worried when I see what's going on in AEW with like a picture of an empty, whatever. It's, you see these pictures all the time.
Yeah.
Now. I'm just so worried about the future of the business. I think our motives are quite on the level. WWE Roman Crew 4. I'm not convinced.
I think you might lean one way.
I don't think you're worried for the future of the business with that post. But for the most part, out of the sludge of the last like Wednesday Night War, like I think a bit of tribalism's funny. It's good. We're not, our like sort of fan bank balances don't depend on what these two companies have a good night or a bad night in town. Let's go.
So who've you got? Andrade, Mello?
Mello.
Yeah?
Yeah, Mello to take the lead, sort of somewhat surprisingly.
You might actually
the matches
win
are building too. They're
fairly for once.
Yeah, they're building in a way that like they're kind of adding stuff. The series is developing its own lore, which you kind of have to do to make it like when everything is content and everything is churn to make yourself memorable. You've got to kind of almost ask people to remember. So it's like they could do with being hot with a video package here. Show some clips from the match of the stuff that you need to be taken into account. I know some people are like, oh, it's because of the thick Fed fans. No, it's just because there's a lot of wrestling in any given week.
And these matches are always informed by what's come before them.
Exactly.
What was the last one that Mello won? I think he dropped him on an exposed turnbuckle.
Yeah. It's like,
so have them try and expose the turnbuckle, or have the turnbuckle be exposed and Andrade fight even harder because he knows what's being attempted.
They're supposed to learn. And double bluffs, things like that. It's all good.
We have to, this is rare territory for us now. We have to, it feels weird in my mouth, criticize last week's SmackDown now, because I haven't really had a chance to talk to you about one. Giovanni Vinci, what the hell was this last week? He got pinned in 3 seconds by Apollo Crews. Nothing on Apollo, obviously.
No.
Your reaction to this, and can they save him already from this?
Trash booking, of which in another version of WWE I would be, well, unsurprised, but just devastated at watching somebody else I like die on the vine. This used to be, it was weird almost, wasn't it, in that you get reminders sometimes of how commonplace this sort of nonsense was and how you were just supposed to accept it. And the only benefit of how bad it was that, well, next week they could put the world title on.
Yeah.
Like, that literally happened once pretty much with Jinder. There was a 4-week turnaround from losing twice in 1 week on Raw and SmackDown to winning the world title, right? Now they don't really do this. So on one hand, you're like, well, all right, I'm going to trust this for now. But on the other hand, it's like, they don't really do this.
Yeah.
And they've just done it to him. That can't be good.
Punishment or what? Yeah.
Am I imagining this? Or was there a little bit of acrimony between him and Ludwig Kaiser when the split happened?
I'm not going to speculate on the reasoning behind it, but I heard this as well, yeah.
They were like, at least one way around. One was happy to be shot or the other, or vice versa. And it just, sometimes there is fire with the smoke, and in wrestling especially, that can mark people's cards, and I didn't like the feeling this gave me.
No.
That's it. These days, right, with WWE, and this is not the shared experience I accept, or this is just mine, with WWE, for the most part, I'm either really invested in the stories they're telling or patient enough to let them play out until I become invested. Melo and Andrade is a perfect example of that. I didn't sit there angrily going, I hate this, what have you done? I'm just like, I'm kind of bored by this.
Yeah, it feels like they're just mandatory,
And then they start winning me around.
Yeah.
Or they do something else. And then I might be into that. There's not a lot of the moment where I feel angry or I feel really like sort of depressed with my viewing experience. And this is one. I think we'll know pretty quickly if they're playing for keeps with Giovanni Vinci, full stop. I think even the entrance didn't have a lot of the bells and whistles, so that wasn't encouraging either. But have they really heaped dirt on somebody as they're booting them out of the company in a while? In that real cruel way that they used to do.
Not for a long time.
It felt so outside of the current WWE, at least as a TV company. I'm not saying what goes on behind the scenes I don't know a thing about that, but just in terms of how you see characters presented, so few of them are losers to the extent that he was. And I don't know.
He's so talented. I hope this isn't a burial.
But,
I don't know how you go, you see the reasoning for this is.
And you would be the first guy to do that as the OTJ.
Yeah.
Because you'd have your sources and your instincts. And, I wasn't seeing next week how... The only... I'll tell you, this is not necessarily a prediction, but the only thing that it made me think was going to happen this week when I saw last week was that it was going to happen again.
Yeah.
WWE sort of 3 or 4 weeks in a row, the same thing. I can't believe you embarrassed me. It's not going to happen again. Apollo Crews leapfrogs some running attack and then gets rolled up the second time off the second attack,
Yeah. Or they bring back the photos in his entrance. And the photographer's like, sorry, the flash isn't working. 1 second. Ding, ding, ding. Roll up again.
Yeah. Or, and they should definitely do this with the Nia Jax story, so it's on the same show. The photographer blinds his eyes like Hulk Hogan at Kingdom in 1993. He's like, it's too bright, and he gets rolled up. My eyes. And he goes to the same eye doctor as Nia Jax. And he joins, and he realises at Low Ebb that he becomes one of her servants.
Yes.
In the Queen's Council.
Speaking of which, who else is in the Queen's Council? Thank you for linking through to this.
There you go.
Are we finally tonight getting Pretty Deadly, the musical?
Yes, boy! I hope so.
I hope so too. It's getting crashed by someone, obviously.
Of course, yeah. It's getting interrupted or it's getting broken up or whatever, but I say why not? I want them to do... we're back on the USA Network, but there are a couple of Mr. Bean looking asses, and them try and make it about, we want to rename it the Great Britain Network.
Oh, the UK Network.
The UK Network, and how it all themed.
Nigel Farage involved.
Yeah.
Feels very him.
Just do the, no, never ever. Get him away from, not that WWE's politics probably won't align with his, but get away.
I thought you said you were going to move abroad if Brexit didn't work, Nigel.
Huh? Thought you said you were, I thought you said a lot of stuff.
Yeah, dickhead.
Awful man.
That's told him.
Yeah. The wrestling YouTube channel that he occasionally has on in the background.
Back it up, love.
We tried. We never got WhatCulture on board. They should do a bit where it's like the USA, the red, white, and blue, and just have a Union flag unfurling behind them as they're speaking the whole deal. Go daft with it. You think it's going to be a party. We've got drinks. It's tea and crumpets.
Oh no, I hate tea and crumpets.
This isn't USA. And they just have and it's that meets a disco.
Okay.
With a disco ball. It's red, white, and blue, but it's the Union flag. And then they get interrupted by...
I've got your answer, by the way. They come out, they say, we've been working on bloody ages on this, and the Queen, in her power, has given us this block of the show that explains it away somewhat. She's spoken to the SmackDown GM, I can't remember what his name is.
I need to catch up on some current affairs news regarding her when we get out of the studio.
Okay.
Carry on as you're going, but
Okay.
there's probably something you should know about the Queen. I think it was 2022, it might have been 2023.
Queen Nia, I meant.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So
You were going for a real shock there.
they say she's given us this slot because at the end of the day, there's no one else in the world who's a better singer/wrestler than we are. And then we get the Bad Bunny entrance. So watch it again. Well, I can't. It's one of those videos. There's like, everyone's got them, like minimum 10 if you're a wrestling fan, where if you're scrolling through Twitter and you see it, you can't not click on it.
Punk's first dance entrance. I watch the whole thing each time. I get goosebumps all over again. It's just like, I just worked out in the end, didn't it? Like,
It's just, I can't get over the noise every single time.
something about that shot that they do from behind the entrance, isn't there? As
Yeah.
well? So you get to experience with him there.
I saw Damien Priest on our good friend Chris Van Vliet's podcast recently talking about it, going, you know, he's been done Mania and stuff like that. He stood in that ring. Bam, 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 bam. He's like, the ring's vibrating because of the noise. Even I'm nervous now.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll do Puerto Rico again.
Please.
Like as part of the...
We're going.
The never ending
That's the
time.
case.
We are, aren't we? Yeah. It'll be Backlash, so we'll just...
Beautiful. Oh, yeah.
We'll just stay in America after WrestleMania and then just move on to Puerto Rico before flying home.
I'm never leaving.
Oh,
Never leaving
yeah.
Las Vegas. Never leaving Las Vegas. That's my version of the film.
That's a film and a song, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what they always say.
Final couple of questions for you. One of which is a game, obviously.
Julia.
A10 Dan Under have laid out a challenge after kicking Owens' ass last week. Really enjoyed that triple threat, by the way. It's Kevin Owens and a mystery partner. Now, my brain automatically goes, oh, cool, so Randy Orton's just coming back.
Yeah.
But is it that simple for you? I'm going to sneeze. Or are you allergic to that kind of booking?
Nice.
Good save.
I've got RK or Fever.
Okay.
I think it's Randy Orton. I think it's and they win handily. And it's Randy Orton's reintroduction into television as the babyface, as the everything's fine guy. It furthers the split, if it doesn't outright cause it, tonight between A-Town and Down Under. That's Kevin Owens and them dealt with. And it's just interesting that Cody has retained the title, if he does retain the title, on the same night as Randy Orton made his
Yes,
return.
good point.
Because that's kind of what we want to see start to flow together. And by bringing Orton and Kevin Owens on screen together as a tag team now, you allow for a conversation next week or whenever about how, it's great that we could team together. And Owens is like, wasn't a great night for us in Berlin, was it? And I was like, what do you mean? Well, we both... That's us. Maybe we should go for the tag titles because we're a long way from singles titles, aren't we?
Yeah.
We? What do you mean? What do you think I mean? You're lost.
Your mate Sammy's going after Gunther. Maybe you could fight him after that. Well, I couldn't obviously go to the other brand and immediately challenge for their world title. Why not?
Why not? And just their sort of links being pushed.
Yeah.
To the,
Oh, you
pushed to
could
the
say if
front.
Sammy beats Gunther, you could just ask him for a title shot because he's your mate.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just get.
That is great. Yeah. Like we're all competitors, but like as friends, the least you can do is offer your friend a title shot, right? And I was like, I'm not sure about your logic there, pal. And he's like, oh, see you later.
Put Kevin Owens on the spot. All right, see you later.
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. And I don't mind that as well. Like, Orton's more interesting as a surprise than an outs guy for this one.
I think what they're going to do is A10 Down Under come out and go, Kevin Owens, we know Sami Zayn's busy on Raw. Randy Orton just lost. He's disappeared. He's definitely not here, ladies and gentlemen. He's not going to be the surprise one here. Come on. Bring out your supposed opponent. You got no friends, mate. You got no friends. Got no fans. It's not the Wilton Raider, although.
Yeah.
And Kevin Owens comes out. Kevin Owens goes, you're right. I mean, I haven't got any mates right now. I mean, my tag team partner might as well be stood next to me. I'm like, yeah. They probably are stood next to you right now because you've got no friends, so we can't see them. John Cena. It's John Cena.
Okay, it's his partner.
Bad Bunny, John Cena, The Rock, Charlotte Flair. I'm not asking for much on the season premiere.
Come on, WWE. It's booking 101.
That rhymed, by the way, that what I just dropped there. I spit fire, I don't even know it. You know what?
You don't even row it.
Shut up.
Like you're the goat in the boat.
Indeed.
The original fan engagement thing that probably one person.
If you can't get
reached out.
enough of me, sorry, I'm on Cameo now, so...
Do you know what? This is going to sound like I'm really, really throwing you under the bus here, and I'm not. Absolutely buy a cameo from this, man. It'll be well worth your money, or me, for that matter. If you have extra, or this weekend, I'm doing a half marathon hike.
Oh, actually, yeah.
For Macmillan Cancer.
This weekend.
And I'm very aware that sort of times are quite tough and that, so I'm sort of judicious with how much I want to push and plug and all that kind of thing. And we're very grateful of all the stuff. It goes right back to Mark creating this amazing T-shirt for us. The engagement is awesome. It's pinned to the top of my tweet, and loads of people have already sponsored me anyway. So I'm supremely grateful. But it just happens to be this Sunday, and I thought to myself, I'm going to abuse my position and privilege on the weekend podcast. So I'll say
you're back in on Monday.
Back in on Monday, yeah. Yeah, the show we're talking about.
Yeah.
I'll hobble in if I have to.
I'll walk straight.
I'll be friggin' who was it earlier this week? It was on Raw. I'll be like Rhea Ripley coming out with a crutch. I'm doing it's a half marathon, but it's a half marathon sort of fell walk hike thing.
Lovely.
My mum wanted to do it, and the run wasn't quite for her this year, so we're going to do that on Sunday. And if you wish,
weather looks nice.
Yeah, if you wish to sponsor us, you can do. The link is at the top of my Twitter page at Michael Hamflett. But that's not to piss on your chips.
Yeah, if you've only got enough money for one, whichever way you want it to go.
Wilbourn's cameo is going to be incredible as well. He's got
genuinely gives fantastic course, and I know it's very close to Hamflett's heart.
He's got these buttons.
Yeah, is your mum going to be pressing any buttons on the walk? She's just going to be walking around with no soundboard whatsoever.
Exactly. You pay your money, you make your choice. We'll put hands together. What will probably happen is my mum will end up ordering a cameo from you, and we're like, I work there too, man.
You've spent the charity's money, mum.
Yeah, all of it on 10 cameos.
It's not that expensive, it's an absolute bargain. No, anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We are instead
we
here.
Did.
Yeah, to talk. Lastly, to talk or to play something, perhaps.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game! Ha 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 ha!
Who's going to be Kevin Owens' partner? I thought you were going to go over that radiator, swerve on a breeze block there. I thought that was it for you. I was so I visualized the whole thing. It was Final Destination.
No, we've decided it's going to be probably Randy Orton. So instead of that, alongside Bad Bunny, Charlotte Flair, John Cena, The Rock, Jimmy Uso, and Randy Orton returning.
Yep.
Who else is going to be the big surprise
Excellent.
on SmackDown's USA Network season premiere? I have the Legends page open on WWE.com. Usual rules apply. Pro Evo rules. You get 2 skips if you don't want to use the names that I initially bring up. But after that, you are stuck with them.
Okay.
I'm scrolling through. Tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay, pick a number between 1 and 12.
6.
It's Todd Grisham.
Todd Grisham!
Was that on SmackDown he did the Christian call?
ECW.
Oh, it was ECW, wasn't it?
I always liked Todd Grisham,
He's carved out a bit of a niche with the whole boxing thing, hasn't he?
I was going to say, is it a niche or is he just a massive sports broadcaster?
Yeah, I think so, probably, actually.
I've never seen him commentating on dogs jumping in pools off diving boards.
He could be Kevin Owens' partner because he could say, he'd be like, are you talking all British, pretty deadly? And
why he's fighting? Huh? He's fighting A-Town Don.
Bollocks. Yes, sorry. I hear pretty deadly talking all British from hearing their musical
earlier on. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've picked up a bit of their lingo. I haven't got a tag team partner. I'm on me Todd Grisham. It's Todd Grisham. Def Rebel got a banger.
Todd Grisham song. Do you know what? We're going to skip.
Okay. Sorry, Todd.
Stop.
Ooh, quite the selection here. 1 to 12.
2.
A long shot for Samoa Joe to return to SmackDown.
Well, if you recall...
Have you ever heard him cut that promo when there's they're all stood there?
What if, right? Because Paul Heyman, you remember, cut that promo once on Joe where he said, look, you're the bad apple, effectively. I've worked with every Samoan in wrestling and not you. Why? It's because you have always been the outsider. You're not part of any bloodline, any family tree. What if he's been kidnapped by Solo Sikoa and Roman thinks he's covered all the family members? He's looking up and down the bloodline family tree and he's like, right, I can beat him, and he's not even considered Samoa Joe because he's tried to black out of his mind, as we all did when them two wrestled at that Backlash show in 2017 or whatever it was, and people were leaving early to beat the traffic because it was so bad. 2017, 2018?
Yeah, sounds about right.
So I guess we've booked it.
Okay.
And he's, oh my God... Maybe that's why he's recently got the bald look. because he wants to visually distinguish himself before he makes his WWE return.
He's not just been off filming.
He's not just
Twisted Metal stuff.
Yeah, he's
wasn't
not
it?
just signed to a long-term contract with AEW.
Yeah.
Right, well, I guess I'm stuck with the third one then.
Okay, I'm scrolling up through. Oh, that's a. You've
Stop.
stepped over some. Oh, you had stepped over some crocodiles' mouths. I'm not sure about this one.
Jump back into it.
Not a 1 to 12. I think I might have to use my executive privilege
That's fine.
here.
12.
No, I'm scrolling through again.
Stop.
Okay,
We've gotten away from the danger zone a bit.
for the most part, pick pick a number for me between 1 and 12, please.
I'll go 1 again.
Okay, I mean it's possible that tonight the masterpiece Chris Masters is coming to SmackDown on the USA Network. Did they have the Master Lock Challenge on the USA Network?
Oh, yeah. They will have done at some point. Well, you go, Master Lock Challenge. Or remember when he...
And then The Rock can come in and beat the Master Lock Challenge.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. Remember when he...
Coughs. Oh, broken it.
Was it he saved his own mother from like a house fire and they didn't even use it as part
Did
of the
he?
story? There's
I didn't know this.
Or like something like a tree fell on the house and he saved... Like Chris Masters saves life.
It completes... Jesus Christ. Yeah, it was a house fire.
Yeah.
Shout out to CBV again, who's got a clip about all this apparently. Masters mustered the strength to bear hug a tree and yank it from the ground, making way for him to crawl inside and rescue his mother. Fair play. I didn't know that about him.
So, how do we sort of finally make use of that moment on storyline when it was never something they were able to use in WWE? Triple H, as a long-standing apology for that time he buried him on TV like an absolute bastard, books Chris Masters to do what? Reverse the plane that has been tipped over by Jacob Fatu. It's like, how are we going to tip it? There's people in there. How are we going to... Well, just get them off. No, but it's upside down. And then it's like, right, well, I think I've got just the guy. And Chris Masters comes into shot and flips the plane back so it can safely fly away for the night from Seattle. And that's how SmackDown goes off the air.
That's your season premiere, ladies and gentlemen.
Taken care of once again.
But let us know your thoughts ahead of SmackDown tonight, either in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch, they can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Me and Sidge doing a Q&A all about AEW later on this afternoon because they taped Collision, so there's no point previewing. We'll be reviewing it next week. Don't worry about that. And of course, Wrestle Culture, as I mentioned, coming your way later on today. But this has been the SmackDown preview where we talked about finally maybe getting Pretty Deadly the musical, whether they're going to finally save Giovanni Vinci from this terrible booking. Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes 5. Who is Kevin Owens' mystery partner? Are there going to be more bad blood matches added? It's Cody versus Solo in a steel cage match. And SmackDown's USA Network season premiere.
The SmackDown preview. It's got all this, a bazillion guest stars, and so much more.
See you soon.